Unlock September's hidden blessings. A must-see morning prayer for God's daily miracles. The air crackled with energy, a thick tension hanging over the small, sleepy town of Millbury. The sun barely peeked through the heavy clouds, casting an eerie gray light that danced on the pavement. Residents awoke, oblivious to the fate awaiting them, each day cloaked in the mundanity of routine. But today was different. Today had an edge, something whispered in the wind, a voice shivering through the leaves that hinted at something strange just beyond their grasp. Old Mrs. Greeley, the most skeptical of all, shuffled to her garden, clutching a wilted morning glory in her trembling hands. She paused, shivers racing down her spine as the hair on the back of her neck stood up. "Did you feel that?" she whispered to no one, her breath fogging in the cool air. A gust swept through, carrying the scent of something sweet yet metallic, like ripe fruit gone bad. But it wasn't he, just her across the street. Young Tommy, normally racing with joy, stood frozen, wide-eyed, pointing at the old oak tree. He claimed he saw whispers, flickers of light darting between the branches. In the center of town, the ancient bell tower rang. Each peal trembled in the air, vibrating through the bones of those who heard it. But there was no celebration, just sheer dread. Something was coming. People exchanged glances, murmurs swirling around like autumn leaves. Something was lurking, hiding in the corners of their known world. It felt like the calm before a storm, a breath held in unison, an unspoken fear swelling in their chests. As the clock struck 9, a crack of silence struck them. The town held its breath as a mysterious figure appeared in the market square. Clad in flowing robes that shimmered like a starry night, the stranger held a small box radiating an unparalleled glow. Eyes were glued. A lump formed in every throat. What was inside that box? Hope? Despair? The promise of miracles? The air felt electric, and each heartbeat echoed louder with the questions: who was this person, and what did they want? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The figure raised the box, and a low hum filled the air, vibrating through the crowd. Gasps enveloped the onlookers like a thick fog. What could it be? Was it a warning, a blessing, or something darker? The tension grew, tightening like a vice. Who would dare cross into their quiet lives? Suddenly, the lid creaked open, a blinding light spilled forth, swallowing the space around them. Panic hit like a wave, whispers turned to shouts. People backed away, fear etched on every face, but no one could tear their gaze away from the unfolding mystery. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the light vanished. Silence fell, palpable and heavy. The street was empty. A chill swept through the reality, filling the air was thick with the unknown. What had just happened? What was unleashed on this unsuspecting town? The questions, raw and urgent, begged to be answered. As the adrenaline throbbed in every heart, they knew one thing for sure. September was about to reveal secrets that would change everything. The crowd stirred, a wave of uncertainty rippling through the air. Faces contorted in confusion, many stepping back, their eyes darting to one another, seeking reassurance that they hadn't just lost their grip on reality. Jake, who ran the local diner, felt his stomach twist. What the hell was that? He muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. The thrill of small-town life was becoming something else entirely, something sinister lurking beneath the surface. But it wasn't just the adults who felt the surge of anxiety. Tommy, still frozen by the oak tree, began to tremble. "Mom, did you see it?" He turned toward her, his voice rising in panic. "It was bright. I thought it was going to eat us." "Shoo, not so loud, sweetie." His mother, Emily, pulled him closer, looking back at the square, eyes wide, searching for an explanation. A shared glance with old Mrs. Greeley confirmed the unspoken fear in their hearts. What had they just witnessed? What had emerged from that enticing, yet terrifying light? As the minutes dragged on, unsettling murmurs flowed through the masses. "Is it over?" Someone asked, only to be met by silence and skepticism. It felt as if the vibrancy of the day had been drained away, replaced by a thick fog of trepidation. Suddenly, a loud thud broke the stillness. A young man from the crowd staggered, collapsing to the ground. Eyes bulged, breathing rapid and shallow. He is having a seizure. Someone screamed, panic erupting once more. The townsfolk surged forward, forming a barrier around the man. But only one voice stood firm. The figure in robes remained poised. With deliberate calm, the stranger stepped forward, the box now closed but still radiating a haunting presence. Fear not, they spoke, their voice smooth yet firm, cutting through the disarray. What was seen will heal you, if you choose to embrace it. Those words lingered in the air like an echo, stirring something deep within the heart of Millbury. Could it be a healer, or merely a harbinger of doom? Murmurs turned to questions, curiosity sparking as bliss waged war against fear. Old Mrs. Greeley found herself at a crossroad. Could something miraculous truly come from the light? Please, a trembling voice broke through the frantic noise. It was Mary, a single mother who had lost her job the previous month. What do you mean? What exactly are we embracing? The figure raised the box again, a light flickering teasingly from within. Within this box lies the potential for your greatest desires. But be warned, the journey is not without sacrifice. Sacrifice? The word battered against the crowd, weighing heavy on every heart. Suddenly, thunder rumbled in the distance, shaking the thoughts from their minds. A single bolt of lightning struck, illuminating Millbury for a moment in white brilliance. Gasps escaped their lips, and eyes flicked to the sky, dread pooling in their stomachs. It was a warning, a storm brewing on the horizon, both outside and within their lives. Without regard for the tables set before them, the townsfolk began to scatter. The sense of safety that once blanketed them was fracturing, replaced by an undeniable urgency. Many headed for their homes, fear gripping them like icy fingers, but Tommy lingered, his wide eyes fixated on the figure still standing tall. He felt it, a magnetic pull, a sense of possibility amongst the chaos. Wait, he shouted, running toward them, heart pounding. What if I want to see it again? His question hung in the air, a heavy moment laced with potential, the first step toward a decision that would ripple throughout the town. What lay ahead? Would they be willing to face whatever they would find within that box, and at what cost? A storm gathered, both within and overhead, teasing them with uncertainty, and the promise of change. September had only begun its revelations. Tommy's small feet scrambled over the grass, each step quickening as he neared the figure draped in robes. The townsfolk had retreated, yet he could feel a pulse of energy radiating from the mysterious presence. A part of him wanted to turn back, to take refuge in the familiarity of his mother's embrace, but another part, stronger and wild, pulled him forward. What lies within that box? Wait, I want to know. He called again, louder now, panic giving way to fragile hope. The figure turned, their hood casting a shadow over their face. Child, they began, their voice clear and smooth like the calm after a storm. What is it that you desire most? To know the light? To step beyond what is known? The question hung heavy in the air, the clang of it echoing within Tommy's chest. He thought of his lonely nights, of dreams where his father still smiled down at him. I want my dad back, he blurted, the urgency of his words spilling out, raw and desperate. Gasps erupted in the crowd. Whispers cascaded, each word thickening the tension. Most had feared this moment, but Tommy, young and unfiltered, clung to a truth buried deep within his heart. The figure nodded slowly. The wish for love lost carries weight. Are you willing to bear the burden, child? Tommy hesitated. Could he? At such a tender age, did he comprehend the price of such a wish? But the image of his dad's laugh, the warmth of his hug, surged within him, guiding his resolve. Yes, I will. The determination in his voice rang with a clarity that almost startled him. The figure's lips curled into an enigmatic smile. So be it. But remember, a gift often comes wrapped in shadows. Are you prepared for what lies beyond this moment? A shiver traveled through Tommy, igniting the dread hidden beneath his bravado. A glimmer of doubt flickered across his mind. Was it right to wish for what once was? But the radiant glow emanating from the box pulsed with promise, wrapping him in its embrace. almost hypnotic. Just then, another flash of lightning danced across the sky, followed by the low growl of thunder that resonated through Millbury like a warning chant. The streets seemed to tremble, shaking in anticipation. From the corner of his eye, Tommy glimpsed his mother, her face taut with worry, eyes pleading with him to come back. Fear chased after him. The smell of rain thickened the air, and behind it simmered something much darker. "Mom, please," he called, but the wind swallowed his voice. "Tommy, no." Emily's cry sliced through the commotion, panic drowning her words. She rushed forward, shoving through the remnants of the crowd, her hands reaching for him as if he were slipping away through the very fabric of reality. "It's okay, Mom. I have to know," Tommy shouted, locking eyes with the figure. "Your mother's love will protect you," the figure asserted, their gaze piercing through Tommy's heart. Words hung in the air like smoke, and in that moment, the world around seemed to blur the unease of the townsfolk. The approaching storm, the mounting promises echoed in the whispers of fate. With newfound clarity, Tommy stepped closer, the weight of the box heavy with possibilities and unforeseen consequences. The atmosphere crackled, and in the waning light, the call for both courage and fear intertwined, daring him to make a choice. Would his father's laughter return, or would reverberations of loss follow him, trailing behind like a long shadow? As the heavens opened up, the rain began to pour, drenching the gatherings in a chilling embrace. In that storm, a truth loomed, a decision teetered on the edge of fate. What path would Tommy choose, and what unseen forces awaited his next move? With a burst of thunder that could drown out all voices, the world tilted on its axis. And so, as Tommy reached toward the enigmatic box, a question crashed over Millbury like the storm itself. What price would he pay to unlock the mysteries of his heart? The moment Tommy's fingers brushed against the surface of the box, the ground beneath him started to tremble. It was as if the earth itself recoiled from the weight of his desire. The air turned thick, charged with an energy so palpable, it felt as if the very universe held its breath. He glanced toward his mother, her face a portrait of fear, but the pulse of his longing drowned out her pleas. "I can do this," he thought, clinging to that flicker of hope. With a deliberate yet trembling movement, he lifted the lid. A blinding light erupted, washing over him like waves crashing against the shore. The townsfolk gasped, shielding their eyes from the radiance as Tommy stood frozen in the brilliance. The figure remained shrouded in shadow, merely an outline against the raw power unfolding before them. "Speak your wish," they commanded, their voice an echo caught in the storm. Tommy's heart raced, his chest tightening under the weight of his truth. "I want my dad back," he shouted once again, and as the words escaped him, it was as if the storm itself answered. The wind howled violently, whipping around, swirling like a tempest. With each second, the brightness began to coalesce, forming a figure in the opalescent glow. Was it possible? Could it be? As the figure materialized, Tommy caught just a fleeting glimpse of a man with the warmest smile, the same one that had melted away his fears when he was little. But that warmth faded swiftly, and in its place was an unsettling chill. A sudden hush fell over the crowd, hearts racing in unison as they sensed the shift. Thunder boomed overhead, louder than before, rattling them to their core. Tommy's mouth went dry. "Dad," he whispered, an innocent hope mingling with the unmistakable chill of dread creeping through him. The next moment felt like an eternity. A tingle ran against his skin, awakening every nerve. The apparition took a step forward, looming larger than life, though its features remained indistinct. Tommy's father's voice resonated like the soft rustle of leaves, but the haunting undertones echoed with an unfamiliar heaviness that made Tommy's heart twist. What was happening? Tommy stammered, swallowing hard as a lump formed in his throat. The brilliance faded, revealing shadows where light previously glowed, deepening the unease in the pit of Tommy's stomach. The figure paused, the shape eerily shifting. "Your wish comes with a price." Before he could ask what that meant, a scream erupted from the crowd, snapping every head sideways. His mother, crumpled to the ground, her hands covering her face as she wept openly. "No, please, Tommy, come back," she cried, her voice breaking like glass shattering on concrete. Her sorrow ignited something deep inside him, caught between the lost joys of yesterday and the grasping hands reaching for him now. He felt like a puppet pulled in every direction. The promise of his father's return was collapsing around him like a house of cards. What do I have to lose? Tommy gasped, desperation wrapping around his words. The figure shifted closer, creating distance between Tommy and everything he knew as home, his mother, and the warmth of hope. Everything. The word hung in the air like the distant rumble of thunder, chilling Tommy to his bones. This wasn't just about his father. It was about the very essence of everything he loved. No, I can't. I won't let you take her, he shouted, grounding himself. But as he stood there, wrestling with his choice, the storm howled once more, and two paths illuminated forward, the shadow of his past, or the love of the present, trembling at the edge of loss. With one last glance at his fading mother, Tommy was faced with a choice that twisted reality itself. What would he cling to, and who might pay the ultimate price? As the storm bore down, filling the air with a deafening roar, Tommy took a step back, his heart pounding, knowing that his next move could rewrite everything. In that moment, a question surged forward: would he relinquish it all for a chance to reclaim what was lost, or embrace the painful truth that love sometimes meant letting go? Tommy's mind raced as he stood at the crossroads of his fate, the storm swelling around him like a living thing hungry for release. His heart was pounding in his chest, a frantic drum echoing through the silence that had fallen over the crowd. The figure before him hovered, an ever-growing vortex of uncertainty, and with it came the weight of choices that felt like no choices at all. Tommy. His mother's voice cut through the chaos, sharp and desperate, pulling at the strings of his heart. Her eyes locked onto his, shimmering with unshed tears, a whirlwind of fear and love weaving together. Don't sacrifice everything for a dream. But what did she know of his longing? Every second without his father felt like a lifetime buried in sorrow. The dreams of playful afternoons spent together haunted him, the stories, the laughter, the lessons taught on a sunlit porch. Couldn't he have that back, if only for just a moment? Don't listen to it, she pleaded, her voice trembling. We've talked about this. You can't bring him back, he is gone. The figure's ethereal voice broke through, softer now but thick with a simmering invitation. To have him back, dear Tommy. Your wish is simple, but you must be willing to pay. His heart twisted at the promise. But what was the cost? What could possibly weigh against the return of his father? He glanced once more at his mother. Time froze. The moment felt tethered to the universe, and in his gut, he knew that whatever decision he made, the ripples would stretch far beyond the immediate. Think, Tommy. She was shaking now, the tears streaking down her cheeks like rivers of desperation. You'll lose me. You'll lose yourself. I can't bear to lose you too. Each word cut like a knife, slicing through the haze of his thoughts, illuminating the dire stakes. The storm around him crackled with energy, its fury a mere mirror of his own inner turmoil. I just want him back, he screamed against the howling wind, desperation pouring from his eyes. If reacting to his outcry, the figure blurred momentarily, its unsettling shape distorting, revealing fragments of memories yet to come. One parent will you save, but another will be lost. A life for a life, a love for a love. Decide, Tommy. All at once, images rushed through him, the warmth of a hug from his father, the sound of laughter, shared secrets behind closed doors. But then he saw the quiet nights with his mother, the warmth of her cooking, the gentle reassurance she always offered. Memories fought for dominance in his mind, each one a vivid reminder of how deeply his heart was intertwined with both of them. Please, he whispered, his voice lost against the wind. There has to be another way. But the answer came not from the shadows, but from the darkest corners of his own heart. The choice had never been easy. It was a monstrous decision, impossible and visceral, a riptide suddenly pulling him in every direction. Tommy drew a shaky breath, feeling like a puppet dancing on the strings of fate. He realized he stood alone, not just in body, but in spirit. The choice ripened, intoxicating and terrifying, and everything around him urged him forward, his decision creeping ever closer. Please, Tommy, don't. His mother's voice started to fade into the storm's chaotic symphony, leaving only a haunting echo of her plea. He took one trembling step forward, the box's glow flared to life. swirling with possibilities and untold outcomes. He could feel time slipping through his fingers like grains of sand, and the urgency mounted like the crack of thunder above. His heart raced. He had to act. His time was running out. What would he choose? The shadow of his father, the light of his mother? "We will meet again," echoed the figure, a twisted promise lingering in the air, leaving Tommy clutching the precarious edge of a decision. With the storm raging, would he choose love over longing, or risk it all just for a glimpse of what he'd lost? Everything teetered on the edge of a precipice, and the moment approached where fate would no longer be a matter of dreams, but of reality. What would be left of him when the choice was made? As another crack of thunder roared, Tommy's breath caught, and he knew that whatever he did next would change everything. The air crackled with an almost tangible tension as Tommy took another step forward, summoned by the sinister glow from the figure. The world around him felt like it was spinning out of control, the chaos of the storm mirroring the storm inside his heart. He could barely breathe, each gasp a desperate plea for clarity. The figure's features became sharper, more defined, a swirling mass congealing into something that resembled the essence of his father. Tommy's heart ached, wrapping tighter around the memories that lingered in his mind like faded photographs. "You can bring him back," the figure whispered again, coaxing him to close the distance. "You just have to say yes." He looked at his mother, her face pale and marked with fear. It was a stark contrast to the radiant smile of his father he carried in his thoughts. "Are you ready to lose me?" Her voice trembled, disbelief spilling from her lips as she took a shaky step back. He wanted to scream, to tell her it wasn't fair. Why should he be forced to choose? "I can't just stand here," he replied, voice cracking. "But I don't want to lose you." The winds howled louder, drowning out his thoughts, mocking his indecision. As flashes of lightning illuminated the skin of the figure, Tommy felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. "Stop," he shouted into the storm, his voice rising to drown out the clamor. "I won't lose either of you." But the figure merely laughed, the sound deep and unsettling, resonating within the shadows. "That is the crux of your choice, dear boy. Every wish comes at a cost, joy laced with heartache, reunion wrapped in loss." Tommy's legs trembled, barely able to hold him up, a magnetic pull behind the figure promising warmth, laughter, and everything he longed for. "What do I do?" he murmured, head spinning. "Choose life, Tommy. Choose what is truly worth it." His mother's voice was a grounding force that cut through the maelstrom, but the storm between them filled the space with uncertainty. The figure flickered, an amalgamation of light and dark, every heartbeat bringing forth visions of what could be a future where he'd run into his father's arms. Do you not want to feel his embrace again? To hear his laughter? Its tone grew seductive, coaxing him like a siren's call. With every rising swell of emotion, Tommy felt his composure shattering. "What about my mom? She needs me." The desperation painted his voice, raw and real. He was caught in a vice, and the pressure was mounting. He clenched his fists, feeling the heat radiating from the glowing box. A choice was laid bare before him. The stakes felt monumental, trembling like the tumultuous sky above. Would his father's return be worth tearing his life apart even further? "Time is slipping away," the figure warned, shadows swirling with each word. "Make it quick." A flicker of hope surfaced from the shadows of despair, urging him to remember the good, the laughter shared with both parents. "Sometimes the hardest choices reveal the truth," he whispered to himself, as if seeking the answer within. Suddenly, a whisper fell over him like a soft breeze, the promise of possibility. He thought of his father's strong hands, always capable and kind, but added was the memory of his mother's nurturing touch. Driven by fear and desperation, Tommy felt something inside him stir, an unwavering resolve against the allure pulling him away. "I refuse to choose," he yelled, defiance rising like a phoenix within him. The light dimmed, the shape before him flickering. The figure recoiled slightly, tension cracking through the air. "Be careful, young one. The path of refusal is fraught with consequence." But Tommy stood firm, heart racing, courage rising against the storm. Would he really defy fate? As the winds howled in protest and the darkness swirled threateningly around him, he felt one final surge of clarity. With a powerful breath, he declared, "I will find another way." And in that moment, the storm stilled as if holding its breath, the figure's laughter turning cold and mocking, echoing ominously into the night. What other way could there possibly be? The fear of the unknown crept in deeper, and Tommy could feel the game beginning anew. The storm receded for a heartbeat, as if considering his declaration. Tommy's heart hammered wildly in his chest, a symphony of doubt and resolution playing against the backdrop of the fading storm. With the figure's silhouette flickering ominously, he felt the weight of something ancient and powerful pressing around him. "What do you mean by another way?" his mother asked, stepping closer, unwilling to let the darkness swallow them both. Her voice was shaky, a thread of hope barely piercing her fear. The figure's laughter echoed again, chilling and hollow. "There is no other way, child. You defy what is meant to be. You dare to challenge the fabric of fate." Tommy's spine tingled. What if he really was defying something larger than himself? The memories of his father swirled in his mind. Each laugh, each hug flooded back like images on an old film reel. But in the wake of those memories, new ones flickered vehemently around him, his mother's laughter, her unwavering belief in him even when the world felt upside down. "Mom," Tommy whispered, eyes darting from her to the encroaching shadows. "Is there a way to bring Dad back without losing you?" She inhaled sharply, a tremor chasing through her frame. "There has to be, there's always a way, right?" But her eyes betrayed the flicker of doubt lurking beneath the surface. The figure stretched taller, darkness coiling like a serpent. "Time is cruel. It bends and twists who we are. You think you can beat it?" Tommy had never felt so small, so anxious. "I have to try," he shouted, summoning whatever courage he could muster. "I won't let anyone take my loved ones from me." For a moment, silence engulfed the clearing, the world holding its breath as if reality itself was hesitating. The winds seemed to still, the muffled sound of rainfall becoming a whisper. Then, without warning, the figure lunged at him, vapor-like fingers clawing through the air, reaching for his heart. "Beware the power of choice, little one. Your fog of defiance may plunge you into darkness." As the figure advanced, something clattered loudly to the ground, pulling Tommy's attention away from the threat. It was the glowing box, pulsing with an ethereal light. It glimmered in the darkness, teasing a path forward. "Tommy," his mother's voice pierced through the noise. "What if we take the box? What if we can use it against him?" With a determined nod, Tommy darted toward the box, desperation pushing him forward. The figure screamed, its voice twisting in fury, but Tommy didn't look back. Each step felt heavier, the air thickening around him as though the storm itself wanted to keep him from the only source of hope. Grasping the box, he felt a cascade of warmth pouring through him, merging with every tender memory of his father and mother. Suddenly, the air buzzed with electricity, the clouds swirling with renewed vigor, forming shapes along the edges of the dark horizon. "What are you doing?" His mother's eyes widened, fear blooming anew. She instinctively reached out, but Tommy wrapped his fingers tightly around the box as its glow intensified. "I'm fighting for both of you," he shouted, the determination igniting a fire within him. The figure recoiled, howling with rage, but Tommy held firm, feeling the crescendo of power surging through him in that moment. An idea sparked an unspoken plan igniting like the storm brewing overhead. He felt the energy crackle, shifting the reality around him just enough. "Together, we can use it. Together," he called out, hoping against hope his mother would understand. "Tommy," she shouted, the sharpness of her voice laced with urgency. "What do you see?" But just as he opened his mouth to respond, a blinding flash of light erupted from the box, consuming everything in its path. Tommy squared his shoulders against the uncertainty. What would happen when the light faded? He braced himself for what was coming. Fate itself could not be defied without consequences. But that didn't mean he wouldn't try. The brightness enveloped him, the figure's screams fading into an eerie silence. Tommy clutched the box, heart racing in sync with the pulse of the light. Suddenly, memories flooded in snippets of conversations with his father, sweet moments shared with his mother. Were they all mere echoes? Or could he weave them into something more? As consciousness teetered on the brink of the unknown, his resolve settled. What could he build from those memories? And as the world dissolved around him, a single thought crystallized amidst the chaos. If he held fast, perhaps he could create a new reality entirely. Everything was white, A blinding light surrounded Tommy as if it held the essence of the universe in its brilliance. His mother's voice was distant, a faint echo in this sea of luminescence. Strains of laughter mingled with whispers, each memory dancing just out of reach, teasing him with fragments of the past. "Tommy, can you hear me?" Her voice strained, reaching through the veil. He blinked, trying to focus. Slowly, shadows began to appear, swirling into shapes against the blinding light. They morphed and shifted, like smoke caught in a breeze, trembling on the edges of his perception. He was suspended in a moment of pure potential, the power of choice pulsing through his fingertips. With a deep breath, he concentrated on the glowing box in his hands. It felt warm, alive with energy. "Show me," he shouted, his voice resonating against the expanse. "Reveal what needs to be done." And just like that, images began to form. Fleeting visions flared to life around him, memories of his father, vivid and strong. The way his dad used to throw him into the air, the sound of his laughter filling the room, the way he would repeat, "We always find a way, Tommy." But intertwined with the joy were also moments of pain, the aching realization of loss that grounded him in reality. "Use them," whispered a voice, smooth and echoing like an old friend. "Harness those memories." It was the voice of the figure from the storm. But now, it sounded different. Softer, almost soothing. "No," Tommy shouted, shaking his head. "You can't control me. This is my choice." He could feel the box pulsing faster, each heartbeat sinking with the surge of memories, the warmth wrapping around him like a familiar blanket. "Your choices have consequences," the figure hissed, the shadows converging into a swirling vortex. "You think you can alter fate? Time is unforgiving." "I don't care," Tommy yelled, grounding himself. "If I can bring my dad back, I will." The air thickened ominously as if reality itself flinched at his words. The memories flashed brighter, illuminating the darkness, the box expanding with energy. He strained against the pressure, focusing on a single image, his father's smile, bright and reassuring. Suddenly, a tremor shook the realm around him. The light dimmed momentarily, and he felt an unsettling shift, a tugging pulling him deeper into the void. Panic surged through him. "Mom, where are you?" he shouted, the voice of the figure drowned by his rising fear. "Tommy." Her voice broke through again, louder now, steadying his heart. "You're strong. Hold on to what you love. Fight for us." Her words wrapped around him like a lifeline, dispelling the dread creeping in. He set his jaw, gripping the box tighter. "I'm not afraid of the darkness," he declared. The light flickered once more, and then exploded into a kaleidoscope of color. Each hue painted a new reality. Spirits danced wildly, merging past and present, moments stitched together with threads of emotion. He breathed in their essence, power coursing through his veins. The swirling chaos revealed a path twisting and turning but steady. He could barely make sense of it, but he felt it was leading him somewhere. This is the way." But just as hope surged, the figure lunged back into his vision, now distorted, more furious than before. "You meddle with forces beyond your understanding. Embrace the inevitability of loss or be consumed." As the shadows tightened their grip, claws of darkness threatening to reach him, Tommy felt the hearts of his memories beating louder than the voice of fear. "I choose hope," he shouted, the words breaking free from his chest like a dam bursting. In a flash, the colors spiraled, stretching and shifting. The memories locked in the box erupted outward, showering misty particles around him, illuminating the darkness. Tommy's heart raced as the light enveloped him fully, and with it, a new reality began to take shape. The echoes of his father's laughter intertwined with his mother's whispers, swirling like a symphony. But as quickly as it began to stabilize, cracks appeared in the shimmering fabric of this new world. Shadows crept, threatening to unravel what Tommy was trying to hold together. "No, not now." A deep whisper resonated through the chaos, warning him of the price of his choice. "You can bring him back, young soul, but it will cost you dearly." Tommy hesitated, fear gripping him anew. What did it mean to choose this path? And what of his mother, standing helplessly against the dark? Would she be sacrificed in this desperate gamble? The white light around him began to pulse, and before he could find his answer, everything shattered into 1,000 pieces. And as the colors faded, A painful realization blossomed. Nothing was ever as it seemed. Tommy gasped as the white light began to dissolve. All around him, colors swirled and shattered, each fragment glimmering like glass as it fell into a bottomless void. The universe had become a kaleidoscope of chaos, yet within the noise, he felt a rhythm. The familiar beat of hope thumped in his chest, urging him onward. "Where am I?" His voice echoed in the void, swallowed by the silence. "Is anyone there?" But no reply came, only the relentless whisper of the shadows. To bring what you desire, you must confront the truth of your choices. He clenched the box against his heart, still pulsing with warmth and energy. Memories flickered inside like candle flames against a storm's fury. With each heartbeat, they pushed against the walls of the box, desperate to escape, as if yearning for life beyond. That a sudden chill swept through the air, freezing Tommy in place. Shapes began to emerge, shadows twisting in the air, morphing into faces he almost recognized. Fear wrapped around him, squeezing tight. "No, not like this, Tommy," a voice murmured amongst the darkness. It was soft, yet unmistakably familiar. His mother's face materialized like a ghost, her eyes searching his in anguish. "You're in danger, sweet boy. They're here, lurking, waiting, Mom," he cried, reaching out. But just as he did, her image flickered like a broken television screen, the feed interrupted by dark hands clawing their way through. Fists of shadow reached for her, and with each grasp, she faded further from view. "Tommy, fight," her voice urged, filled with urgency. "You must harness the light. Use the love inside you to push them away." The realization hit him like a freight train. This was the moment to choose. The shadows, those claws of despair, wanted him to give up, to surrender. But he wouldn't. Not now. Not ever. With determination boiling within him, Tommy closed his eyes and focused. "I can do this," he whispered, mantra-like, each word instinctively resonating with action. "I have to believe." The memories broke free from the box, filling the space like stardust. His father's laughter rang loud, potent, and clear. In that moment, Tommy felt empowered, his heart anchored to the love that had defined him. The shadows recoiled, their tendrils snapping at the light that encircled him. His mother's image blinked back into focus, stronger now, holding her own against the darkness with him. "Together," he shouted, pushing the light forward. "Together, we'll fight." In an explosion of brilliance, colors merged into a beam, slicing through the clinging shadows, driving them back. The blackness hissed and writhed, but Tommy and his mother's spirits entwined as beams of hope surged through them. They threaded their love into the light, turning fear into strength. Yet, as they pressed deeper into the heart of darkness, a rumble shook the ground beneath him. "Foolish child," the figure from the storm bellowed, its voice a cacophony of dread. "You cannot escape your fate. You will pay." Cracks fissured in the fabric of this new reality, glowing golden strings unweaving around them. Tommy felt his grip on his mother weakening, the light growing dim. "Mom, I won't lose you." Panic surged again, claws of desperation gripping his chest as he fought against the rushing tide. The figure loomed closer, shrouded in shadow, reflecting his panic with a wicked grin. "You wish to hold on, but your choice was made. What have you sacrificed for this price?" Heart racing, Tommy searched his own soul. He had embraced hope, but what had he let slip through his grasp? New reality warped around him, chaos swirling, grounding him with its uncertainty. Just as the figure lunged forward, he felt an impulse, a pull from the essence of the box. "I choose love," he shouted as the shadows collided with the light. But even at that moment of clarity, he felt the reality severing like a frayed string. He realized there was always a cost, and with a final scream, the darkness surged, pulling him down into the abyss where only one certainty remained. The truth of his heart would be tested like never before. How far would he go to save those he loved? The shadows whispered their answers, and Tommy could only wait for what came next. The storm raged, thundering through every fiber of Tommy's being. He felt himself teetering on the precipice of existence, between love and loss. The figure, swirling in darkness, loomed over him, its voice echoing through the chaos, smearing fear across every thought. "You have chosen, child. Now face the cost." Tommy's heart raced. He could feel the weight of his father's laughter fading, the warmth of his mother's embrace flickering on the edge of his memory. "No, I won't let you take them," he shouted, but the winds howled louder, drowning out his defiance. With every ounce of strength, he harnessed the memories of joy, the times when laughter echoed in their home, and warmth wrapped them like a blanket. He thrust his arms forward, gripping the box tightly, feeling the light it contained pulse with potential. "Mom, I need you," he cried, a desperate prayer slipping from his lips. And then, in the eye of the storm, a flicker. His mother's image sparkled into view, solid and fierce, standing beside him like a guardian against the shadows. "Together, remember? Our love can light the way." Her voice was strong, unwavering against the winds. Emboldened, Tommy focused on the memory of hugs and stories, of shared smiles on sunny afternoons. "I choose love," he proclaimed again, the words turning into a rightful shout against despair. The figure's laughter turned manic as shadows lunged towards them, seeking to swallow the light whole. "You think nostalgia will save you? The past is a cruel master, and it demands its dues." But Tommy refused to let fear govern him. He felt the warmth of hope flood through him, igniting a fire in his core. He reached deep within, conjuring every bit of love they had shared, intertwining it with his mother's spirit. "You can't take it from us," he yelled, launching the stream of memories at the figure. The shadows trembled as the light surged, brilliance spilling forth like a supernova. The figure shrieked, recoiling as the radiant force splintered the darkness, revealing flickers of his father, a ghostly semblance trapped in the turmoil, his smile hauntingly familiar. "Dad!" Tommy yelled, desperation flaring. "You're here. Help me. Tommy, my boy." His father's voice rippled through the air, firm yet gentle. "You have the strength. Fight for both of us. Sacrifice does not have to come at the price of those you love." The figure screamed in agony, shadows fraying like torn fabric, clawing futilely against the light. "You cannot escape. You will pay." The threats echoed, but Tommy was resolute, unwilling to be swayed. With a tremendous surge of will, Tommy pushed the light harder, feeling his mother beside him, their energies intertwining. "I won't lose anyone," he shouted, and with that, he summoned every last memory of love, every essence of happiness until the brightness engulfed them all, carrying them together. The figure howled. The shadows unraveled, torn apart by the magnetic force of unyielding love. Light overcame darkness, illuminating everything until it was blinding. And just like that, a shudder of energy rippled through him, the world collapsing into a kaleidoscope of colors. When the light finally faded, Tommy found himself standing alone in the quiet of Millbury, breathless and damp from the residue of the storm. Rain still drizzled softly, and the weight of loss hung heavy in the air, but a sense of peace enveloped him. He looked around, his heart racing but somehow grounding. "Mom, Dad," trembling, he whispered, searching the surroundings. A soft rustle caught his attention, a breeze swirling past where the shadows once loomed. And then she appeared, his mother, standing at the edge of the market square, her eyes filled with that familiar warmth. The light sparkled in her gaze as she rushed into his arms, and he felt at home. "Tommy, you did it," she exclaimed, her voice a melody he thought he'd never hear again. But the shadows receded behind them, a reminder of what could have been. While his heart soared with the joy of reunion, a quiet ache filled him, knowing that while they had reclaimed their love, nothing could erase the marks left by the storm. "I'm so glad you're here," he said, staring into her eyes, flooded with emotion. "Love like ours never falters. It transforms," she replied softly, her hand brushing his face with tenderness, and as she smiled, a flicker of light danced between them, a promise of new beginnings. "But Dad?" Tommy's voice wavered. And then, like a dream unraveling into reality, he appeared just beyond the trees, his father's image shimmering like mist. "You found your strength, Tommy," he spoke, his smile radiating warmth, undiminished by distance. Tommy felt a rush of relief. Vulnerability swept by the tide of love that wrapped around their family once more, holding him together. The figure from the storm had lost. It couldn't conquer what was forged in love. Stepping toward them, Tommy felt whole in a way he hadn't in a long time. There were sacrifices, yes, But knowledge lingered. Real love was never about beckoning back what was lost, but carrying those memories forward into the future. As they broke through their embrace to face the gentle remnants of Millberry, a new dawn splashed hints of gold across the horizon, awakening a promise born of hardship. In that moment, they stood unified, not just in love, but with memory and hope shining brightly in their hearts. A new beginning awaited them that September, a reminder that even through the darkest storms, the light always finds its way home. And so Millberry breathed anew, the air lighter, whispering of miracles yet to come. Now it's time for you to join this amazing journey. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss out on exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about Tommy's brave choice. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who absolutely need to see this conclusion. Let us build this incredible community together.